Welcome back to the WHHI-TV Daily News. With me now is John Boyle, and he is the Finance Director for the growing city of Hardeeville. Thank you so much for being here today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about what your responsibilities are as the Finance Director.
Okay, we have a team of 4, including myself, and we're responsible for providing financial information that allows the city manager and council and department heads to make decisions. The 2 biggest things that are most visible things that we do, of course, are the annual audit and the annual budget, but we're also responsible for the administration of accommodations tax, hospitality tax, accounts payable, accounts receivable, business licensing, and a plethora of other things.
Sure. And so you mentioned some of those taxes. Are those some of the streams of revenue that allow you to see what your budget would look like?
Yes, our primary revenue sources are real estate, property taxes, personal property taxes, permitting fees, developer agreement fees, business licensing, and those type of things.
Right. And so as the city is growing, because it is growing very, very quickly, how does that affect the budget? Obviously, it's going to change quite a bit, I would think.
Well, being a growing city is a good thing. And of course, as we grow, our tax base grows. So that provides more resources. But of course, with the growth, we also receive more demands for our systems and our services. So the budgeting piece of that is we just try to be very diligent with every dollar to meet our citizens' needs.
Sure. And so as we're talking about budgeting, I understand that you are right now in the process of coming up with the fiscal year 2025 budget. Tell us a little bit about what that entails, what that process looks like.
Yes, we at our last department head meeting in January kicked off our process. And what we did was we provided a schedule of when we wanted the department heads to provide their operational and capital improvement budgets or requests. And then that schedule then lays out the timelines for those requests to be reviewed internally by the department heads and finance staff and the city manager, deputy city manager. And then from there, we fine tune it, and a lot happens. And then by mid-April, our plan is to have that presented or transmitted to the council members to begin their review. After that point, there'll be some workshops and a couple of public hearings with the goal of having that budget be approved and adopted at our first meeting in January for the fiscal year, in June, I'm sorry. Our first meeting in June's for the July 1 fiscal year start.
Right. And so you mentioned some workshops and so forth. Are those going to be open to the public?
Yes, the workshops are open to the public, as of course are the public hearings, and that's where the city we go through it quite thoroughly with the council members, and then staff is available to answer any questions that they or the public may have.
And so if somebody is interested in attending those, is there a place where they can find what the schedule is or the times for those workshops?
Yes, we publish those widely on social media and on our website, and of course, always call the city if you aren't finding the information you need.
Okay. And I just want to wrap up with a little bit of recognition. You've just recently gotten some of that. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, we the city has received a Government Finance Officers Association award for its audit for probably a dozen years now. And then when I started here a few years ago, I wanted to have those get that same scrutiny for our budget document. And what that is you submit your documents to the Government Finance Officers Association, and what they do is they grade it independently and they score it against our best practices. So we did that. We've been doing that with our audit for a number of years. We did it with our budget. And then most recently, we started doing something that I'm particularly fond of, and that is a popular annual financial report, which takes the audit data, summarizes it into, I think it's 12 or 15 pages, and makes it so that it's readable to an ordinary citizen. You don't have to have a finance background or a government background to see where the money's coming in and where it's going. And we submitted that to that program as well, and we've also received an award for that. We don't do it for the awards, but we did find out after we received the third that we're one of maybe 12 local governments in South Carolina to receive all three awards, making us what they call a Triple Crown winner.
Nice.
And we believe we're the smallest of the 12. So Hardeeville's a growing city, and we're getting some recognition along the way.
Well, congratulations on that, and thank you so much for being here to share all about your department with us. We appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. I thank you for having me.
Well, the rain earlier this week may have washed away some of the pollen, but it's still allergy season here in the Lowcountry. We'll get some tips on how to survive it next.